Alright, hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Casey, and today we're doing a reading all about what is your calling. Now, when I say calling, I want to specify exactly what I'm talking about here so people don't get it mixed up with something else, but it doesn't necessarily need to be your career. That being said, it could be intertwined in your career, but what I mean by calling is what exactly is your soul calling you to do in this life? What is something the universe is calling you to do? What do you feel that tug in you towards? What does your soul feel aligned with that it wants to do, that it wants to create, that it wants to succeed at? That is what I mean by calling. So some people might call it a purpose, but it's specifically something that you feel very drawn to, something that you are meant to do in this lifetime, a part of the reason why you came here. So for those of you that don't know what your calling is yet, we're going to be looking at that here in this reading today. So I have 3 different piles for you to choose from. We have pile 1 with the Labradorite, pile 2 with the Carnelian. I always forget the name of this one for some reason. And pile 3 with the Desert Jasper. So go ahead and pause, figure out which pile you feel most drawn to. I'll leave timestamps down in the description box below so you can quickly jump to whichever reading that you want to listen to. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, pile 1. If you chose the Labradorite, then this is going to be the reading for you. Now, this calling, it's not exactly what you want to hear, but I feel like it's going to resonate deeply with you. It's almost something I feel like you've been avoiding, that you haven't wanted to admit to yourself, but it's been a long time coming, and I think you know it too. It's just a fact that's been very hard for you to accept. So, getting into it, the way that I've set up the cards here today is in the middle we have what exactly is it that you're being called to do, and then on the sides, what steps do you need to take in order to pursue this calling. So, the first thing that I saw here is rest and the 2 of Wands. I think you have been working very hard for a very long time at something, and I'm sure you've been told these words yourself, that you don't know when to give up. I don't necessarily agree with that sentiment, but I think here you're being asked to put an end to a certain chapter of your life. So I'm going to go with one analogy. This doesn't necessarily need to reflect your life, but I think it's going to fit very well for what I'm seeing here in the cards. And the analogy or the example that's coming to mind is a man who built his business from the ground, from when he was a young man to now he's an adult, he's nearing retirement age, and it's been his entire life. It's been his whole dedication. It's what he's worked towards building up and making sure that it succeeds at every point in his life. He's worked long hours at the office. He's worked through holidays, missed kids' birthdays in order to make sure that everything is running smoothly. But he's getting to this point where he can no longer continue to work the way that he did when he was younger. And he's looking at what else is around him and he's realizing his family has been distanced from him. He doesn't have the same relationship with his wife that he could have had because he put everything into this business and now he has nothing else. And it's getting to this point of no return where it's like, it's time for you to retire. You can't continue to stay here. You're getting older. And he doesn't know how to live anymore. He doesn't know what to do if he doesn't have this job. And I feel like you might be going through a similar sort of situation. It doesn't need to be that exact kind of thing, but the energy that I'm getting from this reading is it's time to close the book on a certain chapter of your life. You're being called to put it to rest. You're being called to move on to something else because this thing that you've tried holding on to for so long, this thing that you've tried to pursue, you're getting to a point in your life where it's just not possible to keep it a part of your life anymore. It's time to move on, and you're not ready to let go because you don't know how to live without it. Like in the example of the man with the business. If he retires, he has no idea how to be a dad, he has no idea how to be a husband, because he pushed aside those things in order to pursue this job, in order to do what he's done his entire life. He doesn't know where to start, he doesn't know how to have a conversation with his kids, and it tears him apart. But now he can't look away from it, he can't just distract himself with work anymore, he has to face it head on, and that's terrifying. To have to face the reality of what's been built up while you've been running away from it. And I think whether you want to or not, whatever it is that you're trying to hold on to, it's going to be taken away from you. I know that's not what you want to hear, but I think you know that you've been holding on real tight in order to keep it around. For some of you, maybe it's a relationship that you know was doomed to fail, a relationship that you know wasn't meant to be long-term, but you kept holding on to it because you didn't know how to live without it. You don't know what life is like to be on your own. You don't know what life is like without that other person. And now it's getting to this point where, well, if you don't let go, it's going to be ripped away from you. And it's, instead of it being your decision to walk away, it's going to be the difference between deciding to quit and being fired. And one of those is going to hurt substantially more because it wasn't your decision. Now, I know this isn't what you want to hear. Nobody wants to hear this kind of message because it's scary. You're literally being told that it's time to leave your comfort zone or it's going to get left for you. But what you need to hear is it doesn't have to be a painful process. It's going to happen no matter what, but there are steps that you can take right now to move towards this with grace, to move towards it and not fight it. So that's what we're looking at here on the sides. Starting off with the Death card and the Nine of Cups reversed. Death is all about change. I mean, you literally know death is the ending of something. And like I said before, you're being asked to move on from this thing that you've been stuck in for so long. So the first step is acceptance. I know it sounds cheesy, but realizing that this isn't going to be forever. Not, it wasn't meant to be forever, but it's literally going to stop soon. You need to accept that it's ending. Your current way of life is not going to be the way that you're staying. And it's scary, but all you can do right now is accept it. You need to stop running away from the fact, stop running away and burying your head in the sand and saying, if I pretend like it's not real, it's not coming. That's not the truth. You know that it's coming. You know it's happening, and you're getting this message at this exact moment in time because you're being prepared for it. Because Spirit in the universe doesn't want to blindside you and just pull the rug out from under you. This is something that you've known had to come eventually. And I think you've just been too scared of it actually coming to reality. You've been putting it off. You've been hitting the snooze button on it metaphorically. But if you decide to take charge now and make it your decision to walk away, make it your decision to move on, make it your decision to move on to this next part of your life, looking forward to what life can be like without this thing, that's going to help you a lot more than it suddenly just being pulled out from under you, because I think that's the worst case scenario to you. What it comes down to is you don't want to lose this thing, but if you have to lose it, is it better to wait until the very last minute, not being prepared and have it pulled away from you, and then suddenly you don't know what to do, you had no plans? Or take some action beforehand, start preparing, seeing, okay, how can I set myself up best so that I'm prepared when this thing happens? If we have to go with the example of a job again, it's like, the business is going down, the ship's going down. Are you going to stay on until your head's underwater? Until they decide to fire you and suddenly you're out on the street? Or are you going to start looking for other jobs right now? Are you going to start preparing right now so that when the water starts coming up, you already have the life vest on, you're already in the escape boat or whatever they're called? I think that's what you'd much rather prefer. And it's time to face the music. I feel like for a long time you've just been denying that this is happening, that this thing is ending. The very first step that you can do right now is face the fact that it's coming to an end. Face the fact that it's not going to last forever. This isn't something that you could hold on to. This isn't something that you could maintain for the rest of your life. You just couldn't. And the first step is accepting that fact. I think that's going to be the hardest thing for you, is this realization that you couldn't just keep it going. Whether, I keep it vague because I feel like it's different for all of you. I think for some of you, maybe it really is a job. Maybe it really is a business that you built yourself. Or for others, maybe it's a relationship that you really wanted to work out. You really thought that the two of you were going to get married and have 2.5 kids and a house, and you saw the cracks in the relationship. You saw that they were pulling away, but you kept distracting yourself. You kept saying, well, maybe if we travel, maybe if we go on a vacation together, it'll liven things up again and things will last longer. You've just been delaying the inevitable, and you know that. And the best thing that you can do right now is realize it's dead in the water. Realize it's over. But that doesn't have to be the end of your life. I get a big sense that your whole identity was built around being a part of this thing, being in this relationship, being dependent on this person, or being a part of this job, having this title as, CEO. Without that title in front of your name, you don't know who you are because you've attached yourself to it so wholeheartedly. But what you need to hear is your life doesn't end with this thing. And I actually see a very positive message here that, with the energy card and the Five of Swords, there's so much more life to be lived. There are so many more experiences that are coming to you once this thing is over. I feel like you have it in your head that without this thing, you're less of a person. Without this job or without this person, you're less of a person. But the truth is, you're just too afraid to see what your true potential is. You have so much more potential than you realize. But it's like you're so afraid of rejection, you're so afraid to go into uncharted waters that you just stay in what's comfortable. You stay in what you know, and you don't even realize that this thing you've been holding on to so tightly isn't even the best thing in the world. For instance, if we go with the relationship analogy, you're so scared to be on your own that you're staying with somebody who's, quite frankly, mid. Like, they are not the best partner in the world. This isn't the best relationship you could be in. Sure, things are nice, they're comfortable, you know what to expect. But when you look at that person, are they really a 10 out of 10? Do they really make you head over heels in love? Do you really feel like this is the best relationship in the world? I think if you were to scrutinize things a little better, you'd realize, it's actually not perfect. It's great, but it's not perfect. And then start thinking of the future if you were to move on from this, if you were to accept that it's over. You'd realize, even though I don't know where things are going from here, there's a possibility that I could find much, much better, that you could experience so much more, that you could find something even more fulfilling than what you're currently doing right now. And with the energy card and the Five of Swords, what I'm seeing here is you are living in a forest. And the forest is littered with all these dead leaves, and you're so afraid of a wildfire coming through because you don't know if you're going to be able to grow strong again. You don't know if it's going to knock down everything that you've ever known. You don't know if you can survive it. But if you accept the fact that that fire is going to come through, you'll realize once it's done, once it's cleared away everything dead, so much new life can come forward. You have so much untapped potential, so much energy that is waiting for this new chapter in your life, waiting for this thing to end so that you can restart and experience new things, new growth. This calling, you haven't even begun to see what it is, but what it requires is for you to leave behind this old chapter of your life. And it's scary because you have no idea what the future holds. You have no idea if you'll find another relationship. I think a big fear that you have is like, I'll be single for the rest of my life. Or if we're going with the career thing, you're like, I'm never going to make that kind of money again. I'm never going to be able to be in that kind of position again. You're letting your fears rule you. You're not even letting yourself look at the other side of things. What if I become much better? What if I make a ton more money? What if I meet that 10 out of 10 that drives me crazy, that, I can build this life with that I've been wanting? And I think you can. The whole reason that this is happening is because the universe knows that you want more. The universe knows that you deserve more. And it's trying to clear away all the dead brush so that you can have new trees, new flowers uprooting. But in order to do that, you have to accept that it's time to move on from this chapter of your life. And I know you're scared, but it's what you're being called to do. This video is literally about what is your calling, what are you being called to do? And what you're being called to do is let go of what you've been holding on to so tightly. And I know it's scary to let go because you're like, what if I fall? What if I break? What if I can't keep going forward? But what if you can? What if you can without this thing holding you back? What if you can find something better? And I know that you can because everything that happens for you is for your highest good, whether you realize it or not. Things that seem bad, things that seem like they're not what you want, you realize later they were for your highest good. They were for a good reason. this thing being cleared away is so that you can experience newer, better things. You just have to look forward with positivity instead of fear. Yes, those fears are still valid, but it's like you don't even let yourself see the positive side of things. What if those fears don't come to fruition? What if better things come? And I really think they can. I really think that they're going to. All you need to do is, well, first step, like I said, is accept that what you're holding on to right now isn't forever. And be the one to let go. Not be the one that's pushed off. Because you know it's going to end. But if you can be the one to prepare, if you can pick your head up off the ground and be like, all right, this is going to be my decision. I'm going to look forward towards the future. I'm not going to let this thing hold me back. And I'm not going to stare at it longingly for the next 10 years of my life, thinking of what could have been or living in the good old days. You know how some people get so stuck in the past? They say that they like peaked in high school because they never moved on from it. And they like keep visiting the high school, keep talking about the good old days. And everybody looks at them like, geez, they could never move on from that thing. And they could have gone forward with their life and built a better life. But they're so stuck in the past and thinking that they could never be better that they never fully moved on. Don't be that person. Don't be the person that never moved on. Be the person that dusted themselves off and said, how can I do better than that thing? And I think you can do a lot better. So pile one, that is everything that I have for you today. I know that this might have been a bit of a stressful message. Nobody likes to hear that everything they know is being uprooted and changed, but I want you to hold it in your mind that this is happening for a good reason. And not just a good reason, it's happening for you. And there's so much better to come. So, pile one, that is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. Alright, pile two. If you chose the Carnelian, then this is going to be the reading for you. And boy, am I excited for your reading, because I see how scared you are, but also how excited you are for these next steps that you're going to be taking. I think that there's something that you've been really pondering about, you've been really daydreaming about, you've been really thinking like, oh, what if I did this, or, you know, if I had more money, I'd definitely go do that thing, or, you know, if somebody came with me, I'd go and do this thing. But all of this revolves around like, oh, if I had a little bit more, or if I was a little bit more confident. I think you're fully able to do it right now. I think the biggest thing holding you back right now are your fears, but something that you need to hear is you don't have to get over your fear to do something. You can be fully afraid, shaking in your boots, and you can still do it. I feel like you already have the skills needed to do this thing. And I'm going to get into some ideas of what it might be. But I think you already have the skills, you just don't trust yourself yet. I think you feel like you have to be in a certain frame of mind. You have to have a level of confidence to pursue this thing, to take this leap towards this thing. In reality, you are fully ready to do it. The only thing holding you back is yourself. Like, for instance, something I think about is like the idea of, let's say like America's Got Talent. I don't know if you've ever watched this show, but it was kind of like this show where people went on to show off their talents in front of judges or whatever, and then if you went on, you could like win a lot of money. Basically, the kind of analogy that I'm thinking of is you telling yourself that you can't compete and show off your talents because you're scared, because you're not confident, because you're anxious or you worry too much. But in reality, when I say that you already have the skills, it's like you've practiced this dance routine, for example. You've practiced this a million times. You could do it in your sleep. You could do it at the drop of a hat. You could do it completely just on reflex from memory. Even while you're terrified, you could get up on that stage shaking and like it would just come back to you on reflex because you know it so well, because the skills are ingrained in you so much. You could do it anytime, any place, even on that stage that you tell yourself you can't do. You can do it. For instance, maybe it's leaving behind a certain job. Maybe it's traveling across the world. Maybe it's leaving everything that you know to go live in the city or something. Whatever it is, you're being called to do it. It's something that you desire so badly. I see it in your heart. You think about it all the time. You really want to do this thing, but you hold yourself back because, well, what if this thing happens? Or I'm just not prepared enough. I'm not ready. You're the one telling yourself that you're not ready. but I think you're fully able to. I think that you're fully prepared and you could still do it while you're worried. Like I say, you don't have to overcome fear in order to do something. Well, a lot of the things that people do that we see as brave, like firefighters for instance, they're still scared, but they're able to do it while scared. They're able to go into a burning building while they're scared because it's their job, because it's what they've been trained to do, because it's the skills that they have. They know that they don't have time to wait around for them to feel brave. Bravery isn't the absence of fear. It's the ability to persevere knowing that you're afraid and still doing it, not letting your fears hold you back. This calling here, when I look at the cards, you have unknowing, the Three of Wands reversed, and the Queen of Cups. You're afraid to take this step into the unknown. Now, I don't know exactly what it is that you're trying to do. Like I said, it's a general reading. I'll throw out a few examples here and there. Let's go with the example of maybe you're afraid to start your own business because what if it fails, or what if nobody likes what it is that you're selling, or what if you can't get a permit, or what if you just don't have a confident enough voice and nobody wants to listen to you. You've been sitting right on the edge of the shore like this Queen of Cups, kind of just staring at this cup thinking, oh, what if, looking out at the horizon being like, what if I could just go out there and do it? But you don't let yourself take a step into the water. And with the Three of Wands reversed, you see this man who's standing on the edge of this cliff who isn't ready to move forward. He's too scared. He's holding himself back. But you have such a desire within you to make it happen. I feel like you daydream about this thing. You probably actually dream about this thing, about what your life could be like if you dropped all these fears and pursued this thing that you want. Maybe you tell yourself like, oh, I'll do it in 5 years, or I'll do it in 10 years, or I'll do it when I've saved up enough money. What you have right now is time and the desire to make it happen. You're so scared of the unknown because what if it fails? What if you never do it? What if you never get time to do it? Tomorrow is not promised to us. You should be able to go for this thing. You're literally being called to do it. It's something I always talk about is the desires that we have, the things that we want to do. We have them because that desire originated in the universe itself. It's something that the universe wants brought to fruition. So the universe puts that desire in you so that you make it happen because you are the best possible person to make this happen. I think that you have a wonderful idea within you, this wonderful little egg that's just waiting to be hatched. And whatever it is, whatever has been coming to your mind while you're listening to these words, it's that. That is the thing that you're meant to bring to fruition. That is the thing that you have been desiring to do, and you desire it for a reason. It's because it's going to make the world a better place. It's something that you're being called to do it for a reason. You don't just have these desires to just dangle them in front of you. The universe doesn't give us desires and wants just to dangle them in front of our faces. No, it's because we're meant to reach out, grab it, and make it happen. And I see, you're when you look at this Queen of Cups, she's almost got one toe in the water. She wants to go in so bad, but she placed her chair right on the edge so that she can stare out at it, but she's too scared to take the leap. And what I see here on the sides with what steps do you need to take in order to make this happen? I feel like you're scared of competition. I feel like you're scared that you're not going to be the best and therefore you're not going to be the one that succeeds. Everybody else around you is going to make it but you. You have a lot of worries that the competition are going to outbeat you, or what if somebody else has already done it, so there's no point in me trying. There absolutely is. Because the thing about YouTube tarot channels, for instance, like the one that I'm doing, there's so many of them, but there's only one of me. There's only one of you. There's only one of Kino Tarot or Aso Tarot. And even though that there's so many tarot channels, so many different people, the thing that keeps bringing people back is the uniqueness that each one offers. If every single channel was the same, everybody would just subscribe to one and nobody else. But it's the uniqueness of personality, of style, of the way people talk. Some people are very serious when they do it. Some people are joking when they do it. Some people curse all the time. Some people don't curse at all. But it's about the uniqueness that you bring to things. I feel like a big thing that you tell yourself is, well, it's already been done. What more do I offer? You offer your unique self. And that might not sound like a lot, but in this world, it's everything. It's the thing that makes people stick around. It's the thing that's like, oh, this person's different. I want to choose them. I want to subscribe to them. I want to buy what they're selling. I want to support their business. Whatever it is that you want to do, all these worries that you have, a lot of them are unfounded. A lot of them, you just need to shift your perspective and say, you know what if this isn't true? What if these things that I've been telling myself are just me trying to protect myself and hold myself back from getting hurt? Once you realize that and you start to weigh the difference of what if I never do it, you're going to start wishing that you took the leap and at least tried. Because at least if you try and you fail, you can say, well, at least I tried. At least I tried to make it happen. But if you get to the end of your life and you never did this thing, all you can think about is, God, I wish I could have done it. I wish I could have tried when I had the time or when I was given that opportunity. Maybe it was an opportunity that was given to you recently. Somebody's like, hey, I've got a spot open at this job, but it's all the way on the other side of the country. I'd love for you to join us. And then you're sitting here like, but what if, or I'm not ready, I'm not good enough. That person gave you that opportunity for a reason. All they're waiting for you is to reach out and grab it. All the universe is waiting for you is for you to reach out and grab it. The only person stopping you is yourself and your own worry. And I don't get down at you about that. Everybody has anxieties and worries about things, especially things that we want so badly. We're so scared of what if it fails that we don't even want to let ourselves try. But you are meant to do this thing. You're not meant to just sit on the edge of the shore and never go in the water. You're meant to jump in. You're meant to do a cannonball in there. And another thing that you need to hear about how you can make this happen, you have the acceptance card and the Queen of Pentacles reversed. And it's like I said, you don't need to have the absence of fear or the absence of worry to make something happen. In fact, I don't even want to tell you to get over this fear. Allow yourself to be afraid. Prove yourself wrong. The best thing that can get rid of your worries is by doing something, making it happen, and proving to yourself, like, oh, I actually didn't need to worry about that. Prove to yourself that you have the skills by actually doing something, accomplishing it. Like, for instance, maybe it's like making a meal. You keep telling yourself, oh, I'm not a good cook. I'm going to waste the food. Okay, well, try. Make the dish. You're going to make it, and then you're going to see, oh, I had nothing to worry about. I was actually able to do it. I can boil water. I can make that thing. I can do this. You need to build up this feeling inside yourself of confidence. Confidence isn't something that's just comes to us. It's something that's backed up by action after action succeeding. So if you're scared that your abilities aren't good enough, test your abilities. Maybe it's about being an artist, but you're like, well, I can't just move to a different city and just be an artist. It's like, oh, okay, try at the local level. Try to do like a local art competition. Put your work in there. If you succeed, then it's literally proving to you, oh, my skills are valuable, or oh, I can actually do this. And when you start building up that confidence, that's when this worry is going to start to fade away. But you can't wait for worry to go away before you do something. It doesn't work that way. You can't just stop worrying until you've proven to yourself that there's no reason to worry. And another thing you need to hear is nobody succeeds right away. But if you want to make it happen, you got to put in the consistency. You got to at least try. You got to put one foot in front of the other. Something that I heard once is if you don't quit, you win. Anything that you put your mind to, as long as you don't quit, eventually it's going to succeed. So whatever it is that you want to do, first of all, you just need to take that first step into the water. Take that first step, accept that opportunity, go towards it, go towards whatever it is that you want to do, start taking steps towards it. And if it doesn't work out at first, that doesn't mean you need to throw your hands up and say, oh, it's never going to work. No, it just means you have to keep trying. If you don't quit, you win. I need you to say that to yourself, remind it to yourself, write it on your wall, write it on your phone, whatever you need to do in order to make this happen, because this is something that you are meant to do. This is something that I think is a part of your life purpose because, well, the video is literally about what is your calling. This is what you're being called to do. You're being called to do it for a good reason. And I can see how badly you want it. So indulge yourself. Let yourself try. And remember that Fear is completely natural, but it's also just something within you. Prove to yourself that you don't need to be afraid. Prove to yourself that your skills are enough, that you can make this happen. And I swear to you, you are gonna make it happen, as long as you don't quit. So, pile 2, that is everything that I have for you. I truly wish you the best in everything that you do. I see you have so much potential. I see that whatever this calling is, it is something that you are absolutely meant to do, and absolutely something that you can succeed at. It just starts with you. So, I truly wish you the best. I hope you succeed. I know you will. So, yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. Alright, pile 3, last but certainly not least. If you chose the Desert Jasper, then this is the reading for you. And I feel like this one might come as a surprise to you. Because this message actually has to do with reaching out to somebody from your past. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that you were romantically involved with, though I definitely think that that might be the case. It specifically just means any person that you used to be very close with, but you ended things on a bad note, and specifically I think somebody that you're no longer in contact with, or have very, very little contact with. So this could be, maybe you have somebody that used to be your best friend, but you guys had a falling out, and you don't communicate anymore. Maybe it was a brother or a sister, a family member of some kind that you're no longer on speaking terms with because of something very bad that happened. Or like I said, it could be an ex, somebody that you were in a relationship with, but you guys broke up, it was a really bad breakup, and now you're no longer talking. There is unfinished business here. You are being called to resolve that unfinished business, because what we have here in the middle with what exactly are you being called to do, we have karma and the Six of Swords reversed. Now, what this tells me is there is some karmic unfinished business. There is something that hasn't allowed you to move on fully from this person, this relationship, this situation. Whatever it is that happened, there's something that is tying the two of you together that is not resolved. And I'm getting two separate things here. So for one message, the first message is maybe there's just regrets or words left unsaid that you really need to get off your chest with this person because they've been weighing on you, they've been keeping you up at night. Maybe you're like talking to them in your head and you have to like shut it down, like why am I fighting with them in my head right now? Why am I coming back to this conversation over and over again? For others of you, I think maybe you heard something, like you have a message of warning here. So maybe you heard something bad was going to happen to this person and you're like, should I tell them? I don't know if I want to tell them. I don't want to breach that, no contact. I don't really want to talk to them and open up lines of communication, but I need them to hear about this. So take what resonates with you, but it just seems like there's a really important message that you need to get out to this person because there's a karmic tie binding the two of you, and both of you cannot be free of it unless this is resolved. And I do see that there is a desire within you to be free of this, person, to finally move on from this. For others of you, maybe you were a lot younger, a lot stupider when whatever this was went down, and now you want to reconnect with this person. You want to forgive and forget, or forgive and hopefully rekindle this relationship with this person, especially if it was a family member who you're no longer on speaking terms with. You really hate the way things ended and you don't want to go on the rest of your life never being a part of this person's life, and I completely understand that. But like I said, take what resonates to your specific situation. This is a general reading, so it's going to be different for all of you. But on the sides here, we have what are some steps that you can take in order to pursue this calling, being whatever it is that you're being called to do. And on the left here, we have regrets clarified by the world. This tells me that a good place that you could start with this person, if you don't know what to start with, you don't know how to talk to them, look deep within yourself. Ask yourself honestly, what is holding me back from moving on from this? What keeps coming up in my mind? Did you do something that you regret? Did you do something that like reflected really badly on you and you don't want them to think of you in that light? Was there something that you never apologized for, or was there something that you never got an apology for from them? Do you just regret the way that things ended? Whatever it is, this feeling of regret is never a good one. It's always one that sinks its hooks into you and holds on to you tight until it's resolved, because regret is one of the worst things that you can feel. You want to be at peace with your past, and right now with this person, you're not. So start there. Start with all these things that you want to be mended, all these things you want to talk about or be forgiven for or apologize for. Write them out, and that will be a good place to start on what exactly that you want to tell this person. And craft your message, if you reach out to them about that, or if you want to meet with them in person, start with these things, because I think that this will get the ball rolling of exactly what it is that you want to talk to this person about. And on the right, with the message of warning and message to pass on, there's definitely a sign here for a vast majority of you that this doesn't necessarily mean that you want to reconnect with this person. I think you might be scared about opening up the lines of communication because you don't want to invite them back into your life. And this happens a lot. And just because you want to communicate with somebody and get peace over something doesn't mean that this person needs to be a part of your life. Just because you want to forgive somebody doesn't mean that you're giving them a place in your life again, doesn't mean that they get access to you. So if you're in that kind of situation where you don't want them to have full access to you, you don't want them to be a part of your life, definitely make it clear to them, because just because you've come to this point of being ready to forgive and move on doesn't necessarily mean that they are ready yet as well. They might not be in the same place as you yet. And there's definitely a message of warning there, especially if you aren't ready. I think this reading came to you just to bring to attention that this is something that you need to do for yourself. It doesn't mean that you need to do it in the next 5 minutes. It doesn't mean you need to do it in the next year. You can take your time with this, especially if you feel like they might not be in the best headspace to receive this kind of message. Maybe if you reach out, they'll lash out at you and it'll just sting so badly because you made yourself vulnerable to talk to them and you just feel like you're being shut down. I think there's especially a big message here for a lot of you that if this person hurt you and you cut off no contact with them because you no longer wanted them a part of your life, there is a big message here that, definitely be careful about establishing boundaries of what kind of behavior is acceptable, what kind of behavior you're allowing into your life with this person, because I can tell that you're still very sensitive over this, especially if this is a parent who maybe you've cut off contact with. Parents can have a lot of power over you and your emotions. They can make you feel small because they were the person that raised you. They were the person constantly in charge of you. They know exactly what to say and do to hurt you. And I'm not saying like everybody's parent is a bad person. I'm just saying be very careful. Make sure you establish clear boundaries. Communicate what you want to get across, but keep in mind that as soon as you open up these lines of communication, it's inviting in whatever kind of behavior that they see fit. Even if you establish clear boundaries, they could bridge those, and you need to be ready. Like, how are you going to emotionally respond to this? Are you in the place right now where you can deal with those kinds of emotions, Maybe, are you going to be able to go to work the next day? Are you going to have a deadline that you have to meet? Are you going to be able to do that? Are you, don't do this right before you have finals, because what if it completely messes up your head and then you can't study, you can't focus? There's just a big message of warning here that make sure that you're, 1, physically in the right space, 2, in the right state of mind, and 3, that you've carefully thought out all the ways that they could react, not just positively, but if things go really bad, if things go sideways, how are you going to be able to handle that? Are you ready to handle that kind of emotion? Or is it going to cause you a breakdown? And if it causes a breakdown, that's okay. Just make sure that you've prepared for yourself. Are you going to have the time and space to mentally deal with this at the moment? Or are you going to have the next day finals that you have to take care of, or a deadline at work, and then suddenly your whole life is in shambles? Be ready to take on the stress and the emotional, feelings that come on from what it is that you're about to do, because I think that this is something that is tied very intimately to you. in your life, in your past, and trauma and emotions, and you just want to be careful that you don't do it before you're ready. So, like I said, there's no rush to do this. Do it on whatever timetable best suits you. But I think that it's being brought to your emotion. It's being brought to your attention, rather. Sorry. You're being called to do this because you haven't fully let go. There's unresolved karma, essentially, that needs to be resolved. There's things left unsaid, and when you have regrets, some people can live with regrets. Some people can live with things being left unsaid. In your case, your guides can tell that this is really weighing on you, and that's why it's specifically being brought to you that it's time for you to move past this, and in order to move past it, you are going to have to communicate with this person, because I think that's what best works for you, and I think you can even tell yourself, like, there's no other way to move past this other than to have a dialogue about it. And I truly wish you the best. I know, especially when it comes to family dynamics and, having no contact with them, you can't always anticipate the way that they're going to react. You don't know if they're going to react really poorly, if they're going to lash out, or if they're going to add on to the pile of trauma. So I wish you the best. I truly hope that this person hears what you have to say with an open heart and an open mind. And in my experience, people do eventually come around. Even if you have to try once, twice, 3 times, if you have to keep reaching out and just waiting for them to be in the right frame of mind to have an open and honest dialogue with you, sometimes that's what it takes. But Pile 3, that is everything that I have for you. I truly wish you the best in this situation. I know it's got to be tough. This is definitely a very emotionally charged reading. But I hope that it happens in the way best for you. So, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.